happy back to school, happy after spring break day, however you want to look at it. It's a Monday and I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you. And speaking of good to see you, like those of you who did the videos of your diversity book, amazing! I absolutely loved it. I loved seeing you and I loved hearing you and I loved great book choices. Every one of you, it was something different and it was clear that you put some time into that. And some of you that had the ones with the Jamaican and different culturals backgrounds, you obviously have practiced those to have that rhythm in those words under control. Fantastic job. So one little tidbit of advice is like when we're doing books for your students, make sure you give a pause. I mean, for here it was kind of hard because, you know, we're all watching it and it was like in real time. But if you're going to be teaching this to students, make sure you pause after each page because every kid's going to want to see that picture. Every kid's going to have a question or what's this or how come this? And if we keep on like read speed and we're going to keep right on a truckin', we're missing out on some of those engagement pieces. And some of your books were so great that you could do a lot of extension activities with those. So like art, the one with the hot air balloons, think of how many art projects you could do with that. And some of those, like the Wonder Book, that's fantastic, and that would almost be appropriate to read after you've read the novel or seen the movie or something along those lines. That probably doesn't have a lot to do with art activities, but it definitely is good for a reread. And several of you that I think would be appropriate to read that book at the beginning of your school year and then do some activities and then go back and revisit that book. Oftentimes, I mean, and same with us too. How many times do we have to hear a song or hear a book or watch a, series before you truly appreciate it? Okay, have you seen Schitt's Creek? Oh my gosh, I've just gotten into that lately. In fact, I'm watching it now for the second time, and there's so much I missed the first time, and I think I'm an adult paying attention to this, and I'm missing things. What if I was a kid who wasn't paying attention to something, and I missed a great book? So having it reread is only going to be better. Anyway, I've got Schitt's Creek on my brain. Alexis Rose is one of my favorite people ever. All right, so for those of you who didn't turn your video in, please feel free to do that. You still can email me if you're not comfortable putting it on the discussion post. If you turn it into a YouTube or a screencast video, that seems to work the best. I am not great at knowing on what the Blackboard side of the student looks like. So like looking at Blackboard now, I'm looking at the instructor side of it, so the student side of it, I'm not 100% sure. So I told one of you in an email that I would check out to see if Blackboard has a video portion for the student, and I don't know. So I know they have one for the instructor because I've used that before, but I'm just not 100% sure about the students. So I will do more digging around, and this is definitely something that I'm going to be better at next time I do this. Anywho, so this week we've got poetry on the docket. So you are going to have actually 3 assignments this week, but don't stress. They're not like hard. One is to write a haiku, and one is to write a cinquain, and those are all just basic parameter type like poetry things. And so I'll show you. So on the content, you hit content, and we're going to assignments. And we go down here to poetry evaluation. This is the one we need to have for like the big assignment for this week. And it says to look at the poem from the Random House Book of Poetry. So this is the book that we're going to be using. If you do not have this book, don't stress. Do not stress. It's written by Jack Prelutsky, and you can probably find other books written by Jack Prelutsky that have different poems in there. I'm totally fine with that as well. This book is considered a classic, and so a lot of the poetry in here is 100% appropriate for all school ages. It's been tried and true. One thing I do not like about this book is sometimes there's no humor. Like, I think poetry should be funny, because I know myself as a student, if something doesn't have that entertainment value to it, I've kind of just like checked out. And if I'm 8 years old and I'm wanting to learn, or I'm needing to learn poetry from my 3rd grade classroom, is it going to be something that's, boring? Or so we could do something funny. So Shel Silverstein, I'm sure you've heard of him before. That would be a great option to teach in your classroom. Jack Prelutsky, again, he does have funnier books than this one out in the world. There are very, very funny children's poetry books out there. Sometimes you can find things that are parodies that would be hilarious. I feel, this is just my personal opinion, I feel if we have the opportunity to teach poetry, let's make it fun. Let's make it something that the kids are going to remember, they're going to laugh at, they're going to enjoy, instead of something that isn't fun. That being said, your job for this assignment here is to pick a poem and then go through what the tone is, what the mood is, the figurative language, literary devices are present, and how do they add to the poem. This might be a little bit tricky. There's no time, there's no like page limit on this, or it can be as short and as long as you need to get some of those questions answered. Boy, I stumbled over that, didn't I? So the idea is that I want you reading poetry, and I want you thinking about poetry. I think about how are you going to teach it in your classroom, what would make it fun, what would make it kind of come alive. So your poetry evaluation, again, is from this book, and it's called the Random House Book of Poetry by Jack Perlutsky. Some of them are in there from Jack Perlutsky. There's other authors in here as well. But if you do not have this book, you can definitely find other books written by the same author who are that may have a more entertainment value than this right here. Nothing against this. This is just another option. And so the other part is going to be your classroom assignments, and this is going to be where your haiku and your cinquain are. So here is the haiku. So you need to have title plus 17 syllables. 5, 7, 5. And that's something I bet you have done a million times before. And if you haven't, look it up. There's like a million of them out there too. Please don't use... Haiku. Oops, sorry. So I was going to show you this video right here. This video was written by an instructor from last year who taught this class, and she had it as the coronavirus. So your haiku had to have something with corona in it. So if you want to do something fun like that, go for it. That would be totally fine. If you don't want to do it like that, that's completely fine too. So the cinquain one, I'm going to pull this one up so you can see it as well. She also has, goodness sakes. So she also has the video up here on how to write one and how to teach one. It's kind of fun. So you can definitely use one of those, but don't feel like you have to. If you want to go off on your own and do your own cinquain, or if you want to do your own haiku that does not have to do with coronavirus, totally fine. I am flexible. And if you haven't noticed by now, I'm a very easy grader as well. There's a reason for that in children's literature. Okay, so the reason why I think I'm a pretty easy grader in this, because there's so many times I'm asking for your opinions. So your opinions, your thoughts, your thinking is so hard to grade because your thoughts and opinions and thinking might be different than mine, or it might be similar to mine. So the idea is if you do it, you're going to be okay. So I have gotten I've dinged a couple people if they haven't had the right format or the right grammar and stuff like that, but I haven't dinged a lot because I don't think that is as important as the thinking that goes behind some of your assignments. So if you are not getting an A in this class, it's kind of easy to do. You just got to do your stuff, and I will definitely support you and back you up. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing for next week. There will be no discussion this week. So you do not have to. I know I have that in the syllabus, but after you've done a poetry evaluation and 2 poems, I feel that's probably enough for the week. So this will be due at the end of the week, which will be March 28th. And so you need to have 2 poems written and then an evaluation of a poem. And that evaluation does not have a page limit. As long as you're answering the questions, we're totally good. What I do want to spend some time on is your assignment for next week. So next week we're going to be doing a puppet show presentation. I know! Isn't that super exciting? Super exciting. I kind of love it. Okay, so what is that going to look like? So those of you who are a little bit camera shy, we're going to have to just give this our best shot to do some acting in front of the camera. So what we need to do for the next week, not this week, next week for our puppet play, is you need to come up with puppets and a puppet play to be putting on video to show the rest of us. There is mountains of literature out there talking about why Reader's Theater and scripts for puppet plays is one of the best way to help struggling readers. And I can definitely give that information out to you if you're interested. So I'm going to show you probably 10 different websites that I have found that you can use for this upcoming assignment. So some of you, if you are interested, there are shadow puppets, and this is called theadventureinabox.com, and there are different kinds of puppets and puppet shows and different plays that you can click on, download. You can do shadow puppets. This one that's a butterfly, they're making like glue and glitter butterfly puppets, totally fine. And puppets, we don't mean they have to go over your hand. You can do stick puppets, you could do paper bag puppets, you could do paper plate puppets, you could do sock puppets, however you want to do it. It's completely up to you. This is kind of like show the creativity and coming up with something very, very unique. You can make puppets pretty easily. Please don't buy puppets. This is not a class that you need to put some money into. But if you know a teacher, chances are they probably have a box of play clothes or like puppets in their classroom somewhere, especially the younger grades. That's what we're going to be kind of thinking of. So reuse things you already know. Don't reinvent the wheel. You do not have to write a puppet play. I will show you places to get them, and just puppets, finger puppets, anything that you come up with, or even shadow puppets. Those are a great idea too. So these are all different ways to make puppets for these type of books. There's also one that I found on MrPrintables.com that have just like 3D paper dolls that you can just put as a cone, and you can put your hand into them or a couple fingers into them, and those are the girls. You can make these girls, they're printed out, or you can make your own, however you want to do it. Here's finger puppets. You do snakes, animals, however you want to do it. Completely up to you. Here's another one with Fun with Mama, and this one has got printed stuff already for the Three Little Pigs. So if this is something that you want to do, if you want to do the Three Little Pigs, these are already printed out for you. All you have to do, I should say already up for you, you just have to print them out and cut them and glue them on some sticks, and then that's going to be your puppets. Totally fine. If you need scripts, so the teachingheart.net has got a place where you can get scripts for your plays. So, and I will click on one. We'll do the true story of the Three Little Pigs. And if I click on this, it is like old school typewriting looking things here. I'll show you. It's coming up. All you'd have to do is like copy and paste onto a Word doc, and then you'd have it under control. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow. There you go. So you would just be able to, you know, copy and paste this, and then have this as a story. So this is the true story of the Three Little Pigs, which is not the traditional story of the Three Little Pigs. But if you wanted to go back and use the printable house and pigs from the other website, totally fine. So this one is another one. I should go back to that one. Hold the horses here and give you the website for this. If I didn't, it's teachingheart.net. Everything is free. Please, please, please don't pay for any of this. This is not worth putting money into. This is another one that you could do. There is an owls, and here is the Reader's Theater for Goodnight Owl. For Tacky the Penguin, Rose in My Garden, The Rose in My Garden, Rosie's Walk, and then you can do paper bag puppets as well. Pinterest is a fantastic place to find free stuff. So you can print out any of these, cut them out, and that would totally be appropriate. Reader's Theater Scripts. This is readingatoz.com, and this one you can get free stuff, but you can't get everything free. So if you sign up for this, I think they give you like a week free or something like that, and then you can just like click on those, download them, and then you've got the scripts for these classes, and it gives you all different grades. That would be totally appropriate too. Here is one for the nurserynanny.weebly.com, and there is a paper bag puppet for every single letter. Pretty great. There's also one here called Pickle Bums, and that's a great website, and you can just print out these puppets. So there's lots of options. So for this week, you've got poetry, and if those of you who haven't finished your book, let's hear from that. Let's get that on top of things. And then next week is your puppets. So hopefully you have a great week, and please keep the emails and videos coming. I love to see you. Bye.